Let's talk about the Houston Texans for a little bit. We know this is a Texans team that's been very active this offseason, adding a lot of veteran playmakers to surround, of course, young superstar franchise quarterback CJ Stroud. But I think it's the one young playmaker in particular that had a huge impact for the Texans before injuries derailed his season last year that is absolutely blowing everyone away with this latest news. This is absolutely ridiculous. We're talking about, of course, wide receiver Tank Dell, who was literally shot a few weeks ago, but he's back already making plays. Let's get into the article. We'll talk about it more in detail on the other side. This is from LMT Online. Tank Dell looked like his explosive self in a recent workout video posted to social media, spurring optimism as the Houston Texans head into organized team activities. Dell, 24, was injured at a Florida bar late last month in a shooting that left 10 people wounded after a 16-year-old gunman allegedly opened fire. The Texans initially noted that Dell was not seriously injured, though recent developments generate added confidence that the game-changing receiver is at or close to full strength. For those of you who haven't seen the video, it's Tank Dell running routes. He looks fine. Of course, this is a guy who was coming off a major injury last season. That was a concern. And then he literally got shot, and he still looks great. Looks as explosive as ever. This is incredible news for the Texans and this young playmaker. Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on Tank Dell in Houston. But first, Texans fans, in the comment section below, as you probably know, the schedule has been released. You know who Houston is playing and when they're playing them. So let us know in the comment section below the one matchup you're looking forward to more than any other. There's a lot of great ones for Houston, but you got to pick one. Give us that one matchup in the comment section below. But Miles, give me your thoughts on this Tank Dell news and just everything it means for the Texans going forward.
Yeah, Nate, I think this is fantastic for the Texans. Mainly, you look at this team, they added so many playmakers on both sides of the ball, beefed up the secondary. They get a guy like Okuda to come in and really show his stuff. Derek Stingley really coming to his own. On the offensive side of the ball, that young core of receivers is coming up. Tank Dell, Nico Collins looks really good as well. Then all of a sudden, you add Stephon Diggs to the mix. This team is looking deadly. But then the news comes out, Dell was shot, he gets injured, and you're like, man, this is gonna be, he might get back sooner than we think he is. Is he really gonna be? How long is it gonna take him to get back to 100%? This could be a real blow to this team that was really looking quite good. Obviously, mixing at running back too is gonna be a huge one. Then you see Dell out here running routes, and like you said, if you go look up the video, it's on his social media page. He looks as good, if not better, than ever. This is a guy running really crisp, really fast routes, just doing everything that you would not expect him to be. And I think that just shows the dedication, determination, and just grit of this Houston Texans team this year. They have something to prove. I think there's something special they're building off of from last year, and everybody is really excited to get back into this season. Hank Dell goes on to speak later in the article about the training team and just how hard they've been working. They've been, getting him right, getting him back to be ready to roll, and just gives major props to the Houston Texans training team, just showing that he has been committed. He's been in there every single day working on getting better, not only from the fractured fibula he had last season in December, but also from this most recent injury as well. This seems like a guy that I'd love to have on my team that's working so hard to get back from injury. I think this guy's going to be phenomenal for the Texans in this coming season.
Yeah, I think this is one of those things that when I first saw it on social media and heard the story, it blew me away because I can imagine the impact it has on the coaching staff and on the locker room. It's one thing to have the injury, right? The broken bone, like you talk about, and the recovery from that, and have him come out and be doing well and looking good and things like that. That's great. We kind of, I don't want to say expect it, but to be honest, we really do from a professional athlete recover strong, come back and look good. But the kid got shot a few weeks ago. Like, this is absolutely bonkers, right? Obviously, the fact that he came out unscathed in terms of serious injury, that's the most important thing. But to just a few short weeks later, he's on the field running routes and looking great, like there's no problem in the world. That is absolutely incredible. And it's a credit to him and his competitiveness, just battling back from multiple adversities. There's obviously the conversations with Mechie in a different but kind of similar adversarial situation that he's overcome. You talk about a Texans young group of receivers. Obviously, you had Diggs into the mix. It's more Diggs into the mix. Excuse me. It's more of a veteran group now. But these are tough sons of guns, right? These are a physical, tough group of guys that have overcome so many challenges, but they're grinders. They're willing to battle through. I am incredibly impressed. Everyone wants to talk about CJ Stroud, and rightly so. He looks like the next great quarterback in the National Football League. But you don't get Stroud with having an excellent group of receivers who are just battling like this group is. I think a lot of credit has to be given to Nick Casario in the front office for finding a lot of these guys. But let's give some credit to Tank Dell here. I mean, this is a kid who's battled through a lot of stuff, even just to get to Houston, right? Undersized receiver coming out of school. A lot of people weren't sure how far he would fall in the draft. He has a great rookie year. He's tearing it up, breaks his leg essentially on a run blocking play, sticking his neck in there to block at the goal line. He wants to come back, has this injury with the shooting, and then he's still grinding through. I mean, this is unbelievable stuff from Tank Dell. And this is what we're seeing from the Houston Texans franchise. I mean, you talk about, people talk about being all in, right? In terms of getting people just to show up to OTAs, to lift weights and run routes for a few hours. And these are people that have been in Cancun the last 8 weeks, right? How about Tank Dell? This is a kid who not only was going through rehab for his broken bone, but then the rehab for that gunshot wound, and he's buying in 100%. That is all in, folks. There's all in, and there's Houston Texans all in right now. And what we're seeing out of Tank Dell, I think, is obviously great for him and great for the Texans offense. But if you look at the overall structure of this franchise right now, it is 100% heading in the right direction. This is a scary looking football team as we get ready for 2024.